182, and this was my first attempt. And not just me, even the first ranker, Faisal Shah, and the third ranker, this is Siva Sahai, and they were all first rankers. The point I am trying to drive here is that it's very much possible to clear this exam with flying colors in the very first attempt. And I am actually I'm here to tell you how to go about it so that all of you clear it in the very first attempt. See, to begin with, first of all, I would like to thank jwin.com and Manidhaniyam Trust for giving me this golden opportunity to share my experience with you. Because I remember when I was a student, I used to search the net for all such videos. I mean, those who have cleared this exam to get some information. Alright, before we begin, first of all, you should ask yourself this question. Why do I want to become a civil servant? This is perhaps the most important question. Because, believe me, in the course of your preparation, there will be times when you will feel that, you will feel a bit frustrated. You will ask, this question will pop up in your mind. Why do I have to prepare for civil service? Why do I need to put in such long hours of study? For example, 10 to 12 hours consistently. Alright, so in order to keep yourself constantly motivated, this question should be answered properly. You should have a proper answer to this question. Why I need to become a civil servant? Because this will be the driving force. This will keep motivating you. Alright, so be very clear. For example, you should want to become a civil servant for any reason, but it should be firm. You should believe in that. For example, to serve the people. Or for example, even if it's power and money, okay, but it should be a true motivator. Alright, then coming on to prelims. I'll start with prelims. Prelims, if I'm not wrong, next year the pattern is going to change. You will not have optional papers starting from 2011. So it will be more of the general studies paper 1 will be the same, and the next second paper 2 will be civil service aptitude test. And I think it's too premature for me to be talking about that, because we will know the exact pattern only later this year. For example, it is right now it's 2010 July, so it's too premature for me to be talking about that. You will get to know that on by December this year. General studies, the most important source I believe are the newspapers. Newspapers, Hindu, Times of India, they are the standard sources. Newspaper, it's a sin, in fact, when you are preparing for civil service to skip a day's newspaper. You can even skip your brushing and bathing and all, but you should never skip the newspapers. This is something which I am very particular about. I never skipped a day's newspaper in 2 years in the course of preparation. Starting from 2008 till now, I am making it a point to read every day's newspaper. Alright, then you have to go for magazines. Frontline, for example. Frontline is a very good magazine. And you should make it a point to cover that magazine as far as possible. Then apart from that, you should go for some other magazines like Civil Service Times. Any one particular magazine, because there are many magazines in the market. Civil Service Chronicle, Civil Service Times, Wizard and all that. You can choose any one of it, but only one of it. Because you will see that you will not be able to finish even one magazine completely. So don't get disheartened. This happens with everyone. But the main thing is that you should keep reading. You should keep reading and organize what you read. That is perhaps most important, because the day before the examination, you should be able to recollect and revise. Alright? That's all it goes about prelims. Fine, then coming on to mains. Talking about mains, first of all, I would like to tell you how to choose an optional. Because mains is perhaps the most important part of the examination. Because only the marks that you score in mains combined with your interview score gives you the rank. Alright? So mains, the most important part is choosing the right optional. Believe me, you should not choose an optional just because someone told you that it's scoring. I'll tell you the right way of choosing an optional is, first of all, you have a whole list of optionals. Zero in on 2 or 3 optionals. Then buy some books, basic books on those optionals. Go about it. Go about reading those with the syllabus in your hand. The syllabus should be your guiding light. Always you should have a syllabus in your hand. Alright? After you do that, once you are done with the books, you must ask yourself this question. Are you satisfied? The most important criteria is that even if you don't like an optional, you should not hate it. It is not important that you love the optional, but at least you should not hate it. How do you determine that? Once you are through with the books, sit down with previous year's question papers, UPSC question papers that is available in the market, and then assess yourself. Okay, am I comfortable with this option? That is how you choose an optional. This is the right way of choosing an optional. I am stressing this because civil service is like a game. You have rules and regulations, and only those who play by the rules clear the exam. And more so, for example, many people ask me, how could I clear the exam in the first place and in the first attempt? Whereas there are many others much more brilliant than me who are still struggling. Very simple fact, it's not that I'm any more intelligent or hardworking than any of them. The only point is that I played by the rules. And this is the point that I want to drive home. After that, after you have chosen your optionals, the next most important thing perhaps is coaching centers. First of all, are coaching centers important? If you ask me this question, I would say yes. but only to an extent. I personally believe that coaching centers only make your job easier. They will not do the job for you. For example, I did my coaching. For example, my first option, public administration, I did from Vajiram, and also general studies in New Delhi. And the second optional, geography, I did from directions, owned by Mrs. Neetu Singh. In fact, I owe them a lot because they have played a great role. Then after taking my mains, I came to Chennai and I was given excellent coaching by Money the Name Institute. Money the Name, it's run by Money the Name Charitable Trust. And in fact, they gave me free coaching. And the results are quite evident because I scored very good scores in the interview. So the point is that coaching centers are helpful, yes. But you have to be very careful. Coaching centers will perhaps do only 20 to 30% of your job. But the rest, 80 to 70% will be your job. They will make only things easier for you. So that the next time you go with the books, it's easy for you. It doesn't bounce over your head. That's the point. Okay, after talking about optionals, main examination, you have to always keep in mind that once the prelims are over, you should make sure that you sit with the books within the next 10 days. Many of the students do a colossal blunder by taking an extended leave of 1 or 2 months. Believe me, it's a sure recipe for suicide. You should start within the next 10 days with the books and read my words, start writing answers from the day one. Because main examination is different from prelims in the sense you have to analyze more. It's not just facts, it's not just points that you give. The analysis, the view that you take, that is more important, and that comes by practice. The more you practice, the better. In fact, if you ask if there is any single success mantra, I don't believe there are any easy or shortcuts, but if there is one, I believe this is it. Start writing answers from day one. In fact, every day, once you start preparing, every day you should make a point that you write at least 3 answers every day. One on paper 1, one on paper 2, and the next one on general studies. You simply do that and get it assessed and corrected by maybe your peers or your teachers. You just do that, you'll see the difference. There will be a mild difference between you and the other students, those who are not in the habit of writing. Because believe me, that my experience tells me that most of the students, they emphasize more on reading and very much less on writing answers. That's exactly the opposite of what you should be doing. Because reading is common. Most of the aspirants have access to the same books. Most of them, fact-wise, information-wise, are at the same pedestal. But the difference lies in the way you practice answers, writing answers. So keep this in mind. So once we are done with that, I think mains, that's more or less enough. Also in mains, general studies, I believe newspapers are again the most important source. For example, some topics like Indian economy, I believe that you should first of all, the first most important source should be newspapers for Indian economy and the current affairs and all. Again, the same magazine, Frontline, Civil Service Times. Once you are done with mains, then we go to the next stage, interview. Interview, actually, if you see in the notification, it will not be termed interview. It is called personality test. Right? Many of the students, they make a mistake by considering interview to be a question and answer session. No, it is not that. They test your interview. It's an interaction. It's a two-way process. Alright? So you should not be in a mistaken notion that interview is just rut up some facts regarding your personal data and your option subjects and you can see yourself through. No. The qualities that are expected of a civil servant will be searched in you in the interview process. What are those? Honesty, integrity, confidence, boldness, communication skills. All this will be tested. All this will be given most priority. They will be the most prioritized aspects that will be searched for in a candidate in the personality test. And for this, this leads me to another point. This proves that you cannot start preparing for interview the day or a week or a month before the interview. It should be a continuous process. The day you start preparing for civil services, you should start molding yourself, because a man's personality cannot be changed in 10 days or say even a month. It has to be molded constantly. It's a part of you. Alright, so start talking boldly, start having command over the language, because invariably good language will get you good marks, believe it. So English, either English or a regional language, anything, you should have a firm mastery over the language. And then you should be bold, you should be honest. Honesty is very much appreciated, believe me, across all the boards, honesty is very much appreciated. Don't think that you can fool them and get away with that. The interview panel, they are senior bureaucrats and they have much years of experience behind them. And believe me, they'll catch you. So all this, you just do this, you play by the rules. These are simply, very simply, these are all the rules which I followed, and the results are here for you to see. I could clear this exam in the very first attempt, and I hope that all of you do so in the future. I would also like to add a special note of thanks. I would like to express my gratitude to Money the Name Coaching Academy. For example, in fact I must say they have adapted me for the past 3 or 4 months. Since the time I returned from Delhi after taking my mains, I have been associated with this institution, and they have given me this parental care and affection. more important, I mean, they have given me free coaching. I mean, everyone knows that Money in the Name gives free coaching, but more importantly than that, they have given me values. They have taken personal care to see that there are the right values in me. For example, a civil servant needs to, most importantly of all the other things, he needs to be compassionate. He needs to have passion. He needs to be empathetic towards the sufferings of the fellow beings. And this is something that I firmly learned from this institute, this academy. Apart from that, coaching wise and all, it has been a great help. Because for example, I must say that I did my coaching for the interview from Money in the Name, but I must say the interview was the turning factor, the turning point in my preparation, because interview I scored 204 out of 300. It's a very good score, and I owe it all to Money in the Name Institute. All their efforts are behind me. I must say I have very little role to play, and most of it was played by them. Also, I like to thank my parents and my uncle and my friends, everyone. But Money in the Name has a special place in my heart. I would like to thank you. Thank you.